Hello, and welcome to another episode of FreeCodeSession. My name is Jason Bach, and what I'm going to do in this one is first talk about a failure I just had of massive proportions. I had an idea, this is like a couple days before Christmas, an idea of saying, hey, wouldn't it be nice if you had an analyzer that could find commented out code? And lots of people replied and said, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. A couple people said, Sonar already does this, which that's fine. It's um, just because something's already been done doesn't mean you can't try it yourself. You may learn something out of it, which is a good endeavor. And so I decided, well, let's see how I could do this. And I thought this, you just have to look at the text in the comments, say, does this kind of even parse like C sharp? And long story short, I figured out that's a much harder heuristic than I originally anticipated, which in retrospect kind of makes sense. Because you're just trying to look, at code. I thought maybe I could use parse expression, parse statement, parse text, some of the things in Roslyn, and they didn't quite give me what I was hoping for. And as I started trying to figure out, well, do I look at if the text is code, or do I have a strong indication that it isn't code? Just long story short, it was becoming too difficult. I couldn't find an easy way to say, I know this is code, so flag it. And I didn't want to do something that was going to give a lot of false positives or false negatives or whatever. So I admitted defeat, deleted 2 episodes that I recorded, and just said, not going to. Just not going to even go there. That's like an hour of just watching me flail around and going, I have no idea what I'm talking about. So, be that as it may, though, I said, at least I learned a couple things. And one of them was looking at how you actually set up analyzer projects independent of the template that you get from the Visual Studio one. Because if I just come in here, for example, and say File, New Project, and I come into Extensibility and I pick this one, what you end up is getting 3 projects that's using MS Test. For the test project, it's named .test, not .tests. It's using, I think it just said MS Test. The folders are under a folder, which is under where the solution is. So just things like that. I'm like, it didn't set up quite the way I was hoping for. And I wanted to say, well, how do you actually make the projects independently of the template? And it was just kind of an interesting thing to go, oh, okay, that's how it works. Though in the future, I think I would just actually use this and go back to my, move them into the main folder, delete that folder, even though that gets to be kind of a pain, and then go in the solution file and change all the references, in any event. So you may hold, I'm holding a book here. So what I'm going to do in this one, though, is this morning when my older son was at self-defense. He takes a self-defense course, so he had a lesson this morning. I go to the local coffee shop that's nearby in that strip mall area, and I started reading this book, which is by Matt Parker. Let me make sure I can get my screen back up here again. So, yeah. By the way, I've also got a lamp here now, so hopefully that brightens up the face a little bit. Because I noticed in all the videos I've done so far, the lighting in my room, in my office here at home, is really nice from a room standpoint, but all of it is either at my head or behind me. So my face would usually be kind of dark unless I had white on the screen or something really, light or bright, and then my face would suddenly get a little brighter and then not. So I said, screw it, went actually buy a light, so that's what's over here. See, now I'm blocked it. And hopefully that's going to help so you can actually see my face. Now glaring this, though, this is called Things to Make and Do in the 4th Dimension. Okay, and it's written by a guy named Matt Parker. So there's a whole bunch of stuff in here. I mean, you can see I just barely started reading it. But I think the phrase is nerd sniped because he talks about something in the beginning here, in like the 0th chapter, where he talks about, where is this? Or is it? No, it's in the 1st chapter. I got that far. Okay. Oh, yeah, so he has somebody to give him a problem that you can think in your head. I don't know how you do this problem, but basically it's to take all 9 digits, so 1 through 9, and so to find where the first 2 are a multiple of 2, the first 3 are a multiple of 3, and so on, so that the whole digit, all 9 together, end up becoming a multiple of 9. there is only one solution. Okay. So he actually said he worked it out. So he comes up with the answer, which is 381,654,729. Okay. Well, then I thought, and then he talks about polydivisible numbers, which is if you don't care about using all the 9 digits, you want to use zeros as well. There are a lot more options. He does give 480,006 as an option. I don't see how that uses, that's divisible by 2, divisible by 3. Arguably, the first number is divisible by 1 if you really, but everyone's divided by 1, so you kind of skip that. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So basically saying, how many numbers can you get? If you start making the number long, where you have 6 digits, it's got to be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Those are called polydivisible numbers, and apparently there's only 20,456 polydivisible numbers. Largest, which is some big ass number that I'm not even going to try to say. So it's interesting that it's like, oh, that's only that number of polydivisible numbers and you can't get farther than that. That was kind of interesting. So I said, well, he said he figured it out in his head. I don't doubt him, because I think he is like a math professor and probably a really smart guy as it comes to doing math. I see something like this and I go, how would I solve this with a computer? And more importantly, how would I do it efficiently? So what I want to do is kind of just do this and using benchmark.net and coming up with a really brute force approach, and then start, go through how can I make it better? How can I make it more efficient? How can I make it faster? So that is what I'm going to do here. Okay. So I'm going to keep that around, and we're going to do just a simple .NET Core project, which I also realized in my previous episode, I don't have .NET Core 2.2. I thought I did, but I don't. So we're going to call this, what would I call this project? I don't want to call it polydivisible, because we're not looking for polydivisible numbers. I like just saying polydivisible. There's no really good name. Number puzzle? Multiple number puzzle. Sure, whatever. Multiple number puzzle. And there we go. All right. I'm going to do a couple of little fixie up things here once this gets generated. Go back into my project here, and let's say that. Let's come in here, and we're going to do our lang version, which is latest, and treat warnings errors as true. And you might hear some background noise of kids yelling and whatever. I apologize, but hey, it's my younger son who just turned 12 today. It's his birthday. He's got a friend over, so unless I hear absolute screaming and fighting, it's just going to keep going on. So what do we got here? I want to get that number just written down so I don't have to keep looking it up again. So it's 381. 381. Separator, because you can use separators, even though this is a common, you can use separators now in 729. And I'm going to act like I don't know how many there are, even though he said there's one and only one. I don't trust him, and I want to see, could there possibly be others? So let's just say that I did a brute force approach. So we're going to do add a class. Actually, we want to do we want to do 2 classes, because I want to separate the benchmark from the well, do I? We'll just call it generate answers. It's a Saturday. I started my vacation and I'm just having fun. So we're going to do public class, public, and then we're going to say benchmark, get the and sometimes I notice with benchmark it doesn't actually always work like it didn't there. Sometimes I notice when you do that install and by the way, Commented Code Crusher, that was the project name. Commented Code Crusher. where code goes to die. Sometimes it does that. You say add the NuGet package, and it actually doesn't quite work, and now it should probably light up with. There we go. All right, so public. We want to say int. We want to have an int array of all the answers. Get answers really hacky. Okay. All right, so this is just going to be like complete naive implementation. Or I'll also say memory diagnoser here as well. All right. So let's just say I came into this and I said, well, I got to have 9 numbers in a row. So var I is equal to 0, I less than million, right? No, a billion. Yeah. I plus plus. Now somebody can already say, well, you know that you have to have at least 9 digits there. So why wouldn't you start at a number that gives you 9 digits? And I would say, you're correct, but this is my point. What I'm trying to get at is I want to do something that is like a completely naive approach, and then let's see if we can keep improving and improving upon it. So, because I have seen code in the wild, which makes, I don't know if I've talked about this in a previous episode, but I've seen code in the wild that will do things like copy an array. And the way this person copied an array was to make an array of size 1, then copy the or 1 plus where they were, so it'd be 2, and then copy the contents of the array that they had into that array, and then take the second most element or put it, or the first most element, or put it in there, whatever. And so they keep making these arrays bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger until they get to the final one, and then they pass that back. I'm like, why didn't you just use array copy to on the whole thing at once? And I found this all over this code that was in this person's app that they did as a business, and it supported his life for 20 odd years. So he was obviously making money off of this. And it wasn't like the array copying code is what he was making money on. It had to do a lot with like financial processing and transactions. But I was sitting there going, wow, that's awful. You know, although I'll get to his credit, he did say he fell into coding and development as not as a career out of college. It just kind of fell into his lap, and so he made the best of it as he could. And I'm like, well, okay, I get that. You do make it work, but I'm like, I've seen things. I've seen some really weird things. So what I'm going to do here is just kind of play like not to do the worst thing possible, but just to do something that's simple and hacky, which is, let's say, first of all, I have to say, if the number, if I, and so as soon as I see this already, I'm like, well, this is kind of stupid. Let's say var parts is equal to I dot to string to char array. So we want to get each character, and now I say if parts, you have to have at least length is greater than, you have to have 9, yeah. Let's put the answer not in this one. Let's put it over here so I can keep looking at it. Yeah, you have to have 9 digits. So it's got to be greater than 8. Okay. Then you have to say, well, let's make sure that I have 9 unique numbers. And none of them can be 0. So it has to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's say var unique parts is equal to a new hash set of chars. Parts. And now what I need to say is if unique parts dot length, well, count this time, is greater than 8. Cool. Now what I need to do is, so now I know that I actually have 9 unique numbers. Now I need to make sure that they're all greater than 0. Okay, so for each unique. Yeah, this is like I'm not trying to do bad. You know, as a guitarist or as a musician, it's like if you've been playing for a long time, and I'm not saying like I'm an expert guitar or drum player or anything like that, but if you've been playing for a long time, if you actually try to play poorly on purpose, it's a little hard. I mean, you can make yourself sound awful, just like, but actually try to like force yourself to sound like you're doing clunk stuff. It's like, how do you make yourself sound kind of bad, but not too, you know, anyway. So I'm trying to do that. And unique parts. So if unique part equals the char, then we continue. Now, where is continue going to go? Just that one, which we don't want. We want to actually, well, break is going to, that's going to break out of the for each. We want to actually, let's put in a go to. That would be really bad. We want to say, oh, duh, why even do this? Okay. If we have that and unique and not unique parts contains a O. Okay, cool. Better. So now we move on. And I also need to have our answers is equal to a new list of ints, because at the end of the day, we're going to come out of this and say return answers dot to array. Okay. Alrighty, so now we want to do and check each one. So I want to take our first number. So I'll divide by 2, be explicit. So what I need to take is the, I don't need the hash set anymore. That's what's interesting. I just need the parts array, but whatever. We'll just go with this. Just go with this. So I need to take int, and this is going to be a killer. You're going to parse parts at the 0th portion times 10 plus int parse parts at 1, and you don't like it as a char, do you? Oh, that's a read-only span. You can take a string. Oh, so you can take a, well, let's just make it a string, right? New string. What could that harm? Oh, you're not going to even, you don't take a char as a, oh, it's a pointer to a char. Fine. We can play that game. To string. To string. Okay, so this should give us, like, if it was 220 plus 323. And do we make all the numbers and then just check them all at once, or do I do each one? Let's just say I did all of them at once. Divide by 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9. I say 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Did I do enough? We'll see. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8, 9. Okay, now this is where it's going to get fun. So this now is going to be 100. What I want to do is kind of copy this everywhere. This is going to be times, whoops, times 10 plus 2. And then this one is going to be, so it's just okay, let's actually copy these line by line, because I don't think I'm going to, whoops, 4. This is going to now be 1,000. 100 times 10 plus this sad puppy. And, you know, I think let's just be kind of, yeah, I think that actually might be easier to edit as I go through this. I'm kind of just looking for editing speed here. I do this, plus, 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 okay. Divide by 5. 10, 10, 10, times 10 plus. I feel so bad writing this code right now because I know it's just awful, but we do what we can, right? This is where you say, don't ever do what I'm showing here. 7. Gotta get those up. 6. We're almost there. And see, this is where somebody could say, well, it works. You know, I don't know if this is actually going to work, but somebody could say, well, it works, right? That's the sign of somebody being defensive in a code review. Well, it actually does what the user said it should do. Well, yeah, but it doesn't mean it's right. Doesn't mean it's the best. And one more. So we say divide by 9. 10 plus. And now that's it. So now we can say if divide by 2 mod 2 is equal to 0 and divide by 3 mod 3 is equal to 0 and divide by 4 mod, jeez, I can't, it's equal to 0 and divide by 5 is equal to 0 and divide by 6 is, guess what, mod by 6 is equal to, no, 6 is equal to 0 and divide by 7 mod 7 is equal and divide by 8. I am losing all the typing today. Thank you. So now we're gonna, not that. Well, what's the number I created? It'd be the divide by 9. Because that's the whole number. Okay. So now I can say return answer. No, wait, I should already, didn't I type that in already? Yeah, I did. Okay, so it's all this. Okay, so we're going to say var answers is equal to new generate answers. And we're not going to do the benchmarking yet. We're just going to say console right line string dot join answers dot get answers really hacky. Right? Let's make sure that we're in release mode. Well, I hope it's doing something. Otherwise, we're going to be sitting here for quite some time. I was expecting this to be at least a little bit faster than this, but man, this is really, really bad. This isn't just bad. This is horrendously bad. I'm gonna check some texts from my friends. Come on. Oh, fine. Sure, whatever. Like it. What does he want me to do? Yeah, I liked it. Yippee. Somebody asked me to like a video for them or some picture. Makes me feel dirty. Alright, whatever. Where is my stopwatch again? There we go. Alright. I don't even know if I'd want to benchmark this. Because this is just bad. This is just awful. I'm curious, let's break this and let's go back into debug mode. And let's see, is this actually doing anything? Is it at least doing something? So let's see. So it does that. You have one. It skips right over that. So we know at least it does that. Let's get into this. Okay, so eventually it gets there. And what is the number? What is I? Yeah, it's 100 million. And so it should skip over all that. Okay. So at some point though, it should eventually get into this. Oops, no, I don't want to stop debugging. How long did it actually take to get there? Is that like the whole time and never even got into this code? Oh, it did. It did. Okay. So it does eventually get into this code. And let's see what we get. Oh, so this is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so it actually gets to that one. It took for freaking ever to get there, but it does. How long does it take to get to the next one? So it actually, once it starts finding the unique list, it doesn't take long, or at least it doesn't feel like it's taking as long to get to that point. It's just, wow. It just feels like it's, oh, now it took some time. Taking its sweet old time. Yeah, I don't even know if I'd want to throw this in the benchmark as it is right now. It's just god awful bad. It's so slow. When does it actually even get to the 3 million? Because I don't even think benchmark could do anything. Well, it'd be interesting to see what benchmark would do with something that's this bad, and say, yeah, it's taking like minutes for this to run. But again, I've seen people do stuff like this where they say, well, it eventually runs, and then rather than looking at their code and going, well, what could I do to make it faster? Which, again, this is a extreme example, but kind of that idea of instead of looking at what I did and potentially changing it is, we already have this, so let's try to find hacks around this. Let's do this as an offline job. Let's do this as some, fire and forget thing that goes through serverless computing to calculate it, and so the user doesn't have to wait. But I'm like, no. Well, in some cases, yet I don't want to dismiss that at all, because there's a lot of cases where that is the right answer. There's just something that takes a long time to process, and you don't, you just don't want the user to sit there and wait. Totally makes sense. I mean, an example is processing an order. If I processed an order for pizza or books or delivery of anything, the whole fulfillment of that order takes lots of steps, lots of physical steps, lots of things in that overall sequence, and you don't just as a user sit there and say, I'm going to order something and now I'm going to wait. Though this is kind of funny, because where are we at right now? We're at, see, wow, that actually skipped over the answer, didn't it? That actually skipped. Why? 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, 6, 6, 7, 7, 8, 8, 9, 9. Oh, wait a minute. I'm an idiot. I read this wrong. See? Know your requirements. Know your requirements. So it should be divisible by all then. Oh, answers does have one in here. Okay, oh yeah, it did. Okay, it didn't skip over it. It did actually have it in there. Okay. It actually found it, right? 381 654 729. So ship it, commit it, it's done, right? No, this is horrible. So I'm near the end of the 30-minute mark that I usually do, and I really don't want to throw this into benchmark as it is, because it would take literally, I think, the whole night for me to just get through a run with it being this slow. So I'm going to stop with this video. I'm going to just do a little bit of work offline, and then my next episode we're going to actually see what we can do to make this really, really fast. Okay, so I'm just going to stop for now. We'll come back and have more fun with this. So thanks for watching. Leave your comments and questions below. See you in the next video.